I hate to break the fishing news after Remchuk, but I'd like to speak about the ice hockey.
Congratulations, you're one of the 13 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
We just traded a migraine in for like an orgasm.
Might want to mark that down, Remchuk.
Yep.
All of my projects are on schedule until they're not.
A member of the Nation Network of Podcasts.
About as funny as we're going to get today.
Welcome in to another episode of the Real Life Podcast on the Nation Network. As always, I'm your host, Tyler Remchuk, and the normal cast of characters is here. We got Wanye, we got Jay, we got Chalmers, we got Mr. Bagged Milk, and we haven't interviewed an Oiler in a while, or an ex-Oiler, I should say. Current member of the Detroit Red Wings, product of London, Ontario. He has played in his career, getting close to 1,000 NHL games now. He's a product of London, Ontario, but we in Edmonton, we consider him one of our own. Sam Gagner joins the show. Sam, how's it going, man?
That's going great. Thanks for having me.
We got a few things we want to touch on here. We got you for about 20, 30 minutes, but one of the big things and really the main reason we had you on this week is to talk about some work you're doing in the Edmonton community with some local businesses, particularly with our friend Emad and YEG Burger. Why don't you just kind of take us through what you have going on with YEG Burger and how that kind of came about?
Obviously there's been a lot of small business affected with everything that's going on with COVID, and YEG Burger reached out to me early on in all of this and asked if I would be interested in doing their burger of the month for May, and that $1 from every burger was going to be donated to the Edmonton Food Bank, and I figured it was a great cause, and I'm a burger fan myself, so it was a lot of fun creating the burger, and then I just decided that I would match all the totals, so it's $2 now from every burger going to the Edmonton Food Bank. I know that there's a lot of people kind of struggling in terms of just making ends meet, and any way you can help, just kind of make sure that food insecurity is something that isn't really isn't happening as much around Edmonton. I figured it was a great cause to jump in and support, and YEG Burger gave me the platform to do it, and I'm thankful for that. So so far it's gone really well, getting a lot of great feedback on the burger, and everything that's kind of come from it. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Can you tell us what's in the burger?
Oh yeah, I like that kind of a spicy kick. So there's jalapenos and a hot sauce on it, and then it's a double patty with bacon. I'm gluten free, or I try to be at least, and mine comes with a kind of a keto bun, and then but I think there's options to get a regular bun as well, and then trying to think what else. Creamy feta. There's a house-made aioli from YEG Burger on there, and I think that's pretty much it. But getting a lot of great feedback. I love the burger myself. I had a chance to eat it a few times. So, I think you're trying to cut calories as much as you can during all this quarantine, but that's been the hard part.
Is this the first time you've ever had
Tyler.
Oh, go ahead, Jay.
Sorry, I got to jump in. I've tried. I'm sorry, we were going to talk over each other, but I've had the burger, Sam, and I'm a spicy man myself, and I love it. So I actually do have a quick question to ask her before Tyler gets back into making this a professional show. Any ambitions to being a chef after your playing career? Is that?
Absolutely not. I'll leave that to the professionals. I like to eat. That's about where it ends.
Are you thinking about going and working in a burger restaurant when you're done playing?
Probably not. I think
Yeah.
Hockey is about all that I know, so I think I'll stay in hockey no matter what happens.
Interesting. Okay.
Sam, you're an absolute fan favorite in this city. We see it on the website. I remember the day you were traded back. I mean, Bagged Milk, you can probably speak to it as well. Like, the site lit up with Sam Gagner fans who were excited to have you back in the city. From your perspective, you're a guy, you're staying in Edmonton right now. What makes this city so special to you?
Well, I think, it really has a small town community feel. I mean, it's a big city, but I ever since I was drafted here as an 18-year-old, I really got that sense of community. Everyone kind of makes you feel part of it, and I think it's just the people. I've been around to a lot of different places, and been a part of a lot of different communities, and the people of Edmonton are just great people. They always make you feel welcome, always make you feel a part of things. And for myself and my family, it's been a great place to my wife is from here, so she grew up here. She understands everything about being an Edmontonian, and my kids are really enjoying everything that comes with being in Edmonton, and it's just been a lot of fun.
One more.
What's your level? Oh, sorry, buddy. Go ahead.
I was just going to say one more before I send you through the gauntlet of YEG, Bag Milk, and Chalmers. But from the topic of being a hub city, I mean, you've been around obviously all the facilities in the league. Do you think Edmonton deserves to be kind of one of those top candidates for a bunch of teams to come back if the season resumes?
Well, yeah. I mean, I know that there's a lot of balls in the air and a lot of things that go into it, but in terms of just the facility aspect, it's in my opinion, the best arena in the league. The dressing rooms are incredible. I think just getting a chance to having played in so many different places and knowing a lot of different guys in the league, it's one common thing that continues to come up is guys when they come to Edmonton now and they're staying at the JW Marriott and the dressing rooms at Rogers are so great. They're like, it's one of the best places in the league to come on the road now. So I mean, the facilities are incredible. Like I said, there's a lot of balls in the air about continuing to play and all that kind of stuff. But I think in terms of a facility, it's the best in the league.
Wanye, I'll send it over to you now. As they've been joking, I'm the one who tries to keep it on the rails as much as possible. But now I shall let go of the reins. Wanye, you're up.
Well, it's about time I got some fucking questions around here. First of all, thank you for coming on our show. I appreciate it. How has it been for you during all this? Like, you're like a normal civilian. Have you been locked in your house with kids going crazy, or how's it been?
Yeah, no, it's been good. I think this is the longest I've been off of the ice in forever, save for injury or anything like that. So, that part has been different, trying to stay busy and keep your mind occupied. But my kids help with that. I got 3 kids under the age of 5. So, that's really busy, and that's been a lot of fun. Are they cluing
into what's going on? How do you guys explain what's going on?
Yeah, you know what? The oldest, he's 4.5. He's kind of clued in a little bit. He understands kind of, we tell him about the virus and, why everyone's kind of social distancing, all that kind of stuff. And he's been really good with that, but we've been trying to do our best to just keep them occupied. My wife was homeschooled, so she has some experience with it. So she's been, helping to homeschool the kids, which, I personally, I don't think teachers get paid enough for, all the stuff that they have to go through. But it's been, it's been good in the sense that the family time. We're on the road a lot. I got traded kind of partway through the season, and don't get to see the family enough. So that part of it's been great, and we've enjoyed that.
Do you get to work out? Like, how are you trying to stay fit throughout all this?
Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. I have a gym in my basement here, with enough to get by, some cardio equipment, some weights, and, I have a sauna down there and different things like that. So, and then I have a little bit of a backyard too with, and I have a hockey net and, some pucks and some synthetic ice. So that helps. And then when we first got back, Edmonton was really cold. So, my son and I, we built, it was like a little 10 by 20 rink on the patio in our backyard. So that was fun for a few weeks to just kind of play with him out there.
They laughed when you put that gym in, and now you're like, who's laughing now? It's COVID.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How did you like maintaining the rink? Were you like real hands on with it? I made rinks for my boys. My favorite time was at night having a scotch with my earphones in and just giving her a nice dusting. What did you think?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in the rink business. My dad, when he retired, he started a company called Custom Ice Rinks.
Whoa.
And so they make rinks of all shapes and sizes all over the world, basically. It started really small, and his the original project was in my backyard. It was a 50 by 90 rink with like chiller, boards, everything. It was incredible. So I kind of grew up in it. I remember actually one of my science projects in elementary school. I built a rink with like a little mini refrigeration unit and brought it to school, and I had the boards and everything. And it was like just a little kid-sized model. So doing it again now, it kind of brought me back to all those times and brought me back to my childhood, and I just love doing it. So as my kids get older, I'm not sure if they're gonna be involved in the game or I'm not gonna pressure them in any way to do that. But if they do want to play hockey, I'm gonna love kind of building that rink in the backyard. And I think even if they don't play, I'll do it anyway just so I can skate. So it has been a lot of fun.
No doubt. So your dad was making rinks, so when you were a kid, you would go with him as he would go and make these rinks, or did he just make a customized project or product that you could buy?
Yes, no, it was. It started the company, so it was him, and it's essentially our rink was the first rink that they built, and now you can go on their website. I think it's customicerinks.com.
Yeah,
but they have now. Yeah, they have rinks all over the world. They do backyard portable rinks. They do permanent rinks. They do indoor arenas. They do everything. They do the smaller training rinks. So yeah, it's really incredible to see where it started and what it's become now. And I know my dad takes a lot of pride in kind of building that business from the ground up, and it's pretty incredible. I go on the website now pretty frequently. Just once I built this rink in the backyard, I'm like, I'm going to go on the website and see kind of some of the new projects they've been building, and they build rinks in like half size rinks in like barns, and it's so cool. It's like it's such an incredible thing that has been built up, and so I'm excited for when I don't have to move around so much, and I'm going to be in one place, and I can build an actual legit hockey rink in my backyard.
Did you hit up your old man for a couple of tips when you were setting it up?
Well, I actually did, but surprisingly, I picked it up pretty quick.
You probably just remembered the stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So when we were doing our rink, like every year, the refrigeration unit adds probably a month or two on each end of, so we're able to put in the rink in November, October type of thing. And, I was with them all the time as we were building the rink. And, so, when we'd flood it to kind of get it up to a certain level. And I remember all those things about like, you have to flood it with warm water and all the like things that all those different things that they just kind of came back to me. So that was, it was a lot of fun doing it.
I have been doing this all wrong after looking at this website. I can't wait for next winter all of a sudden, because this is going to make my life a whole lot easier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Our rink was incredible. And like, I remember the first year it was, we just had this little attachment hose that you just like drag along the rink to flood it or whatever. And then if it snowed, we'd, shovel it all off. And then the next year we got a snow blower. And then the next year we got this John Deere tractor, and it had an attachment on the back of it. So we were actually able to flood it like a Zamboni. So that made, mostly my dad's life a lot easier, but I had a lot of fun Zamboniing it as well.
I think I'm going to jump in and maybe talk a little bit about some Oilers hockey, if that's cool.
No problem. Yeah.
There's so many amazing. Well, first of all, thank you for coming on. Thank you for staying in Edmonton, and thank you for doing this fundraiser for a very important cause. Really, you've got a giant platform, and the fact that you're using it to support the community is amazing. So there's so many good memories that I could go through, but I kind of want to hone in on one because it was a solid chunk of time, one where I was celebrating, and it was right at the beginning when your first season with us, when the formation of the kid line came with you, Cogliano, and Nielsen, and how the three of you almost single-handedly dragged the Oilers into the playoffs. And
now, just hold on here. You can't have three people single-handedly do something.
All right, how you tri-handedly, how all six of your hands brought us and put us on this crazy run and gave us such exciting and crazy, meaningful hockey down the stretch. What was that like? Because for us to watch was unreal.
Yeah, it was incredible, actually. I remember I didn't expect to make the team as an 18-year-old, and so I brought like 2 weeks worth of clothes, and then I had a really good camp, and stuck around for 10 games, and then I'm like, okay, I got to go buy some clothes here, and then I was told that I was going to stay for the rest of the year, and it was just kind of the whole thing. I mean, Andrew, myself, and Tom Gilbert were living together. All three of us were kind of in the same boat that we weren't sure we were going to make it. So when we all found out we're like, let's just find a house together. And Ethan Morrow was actually the captain at the time, and he was nice enough that he had a house that was sitting empty, just to let us live in it, which was incredible. So we're all living together, and then there's a bunch of injuries kind of later in the year, and so our line gets put together. We start playing more. We're on the power play a little bit more, and we just kind of went on a run. And no one really expected anything of us, and we were just young kids having a good time playing hockey. And Andrew and I especially, we talk about it all the time. It's some of the best times of our lives, and some of our fondest memories.
Man, do you remember that run where Cogliano, wasn't it like 3 overtime goals in a row or something like that? That was, I remember that vividly. That was nuts.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. And then actually the fourth game, we went to overtime again, and he had probably his best chance of all of them and missed. So we were giving it to him for that. But I think that at the time we were like, this record is going to be safe forever. I think now, the fact that it's 3-on-3 overtime, it might be a little more in jeopardy, but it was 3 games in a row. Like the odds to first just go to overtime, 3 games, and then for him to score all 3 times, it was awesome.
Speaking of Oilers memory, Sam, I got to ask about the 8-point game. It was one of those ones where everything you touched, whether it was your 4 goals, 4 assists, they end up in the back of the net. Just kind of like, when you look back on that evening now with a few years of hindsight, what was going through your mind as the game progressed and the puck just kept ending up in the back of the net?
Yeah, it was a pretty special night, obviously. It was just one of those things that everything I touched went in, and then, once you, any offensive guy will tell you, once you get 1 point or, a couple points, you kind of settle into the game and you start letting it come to you as opposed to chasing it. And that's really what it felt like for me. I felt like I was completely in the zone, and I didn't really have to overwork for anything. The game was just kind of coming to me, and I was just playing. I didn't overthink, and it was a really cool experience. But just in terms of the night itself, having the entire arena chant your name, and being the 3 stars of the game, all that, it's just those things. That's a feeling you can't really recreate. So it's something that's really special and something I'll remember forever.
Your 8-point. Oh, sorry, buddy.
I was watching the highlights just before we got started here, and it seemed like by point 5, 6, 7, you were almost shaking your head like, I can't miss at this point.
Well, I think it was maybe the 8th point. you see, it's Hall and Ebbs, Halsey and Ebbs. They're doing everything up the ice. They're making plays and flying, and I'm just kind of sauntering up behind them. And normally, all you're thinking of is I got to get going. I got to catch up to them. I got to get my feet moving. And I remember it vividly. I was like, I didn't even think to do that. I just sauntered my way up the ice, and sure enough, by the time they had done everything they did, I was wide open and got the puck and made a play to Ebbs, and it's in the back of the net. So it's just it's one of those nights where just everything kind of falls into place, everything goes right, and it's definitely a really special moment.
You talk
Your
about
8-point night, Sam, was one of my greatest regrets as an Oilers fan because I missed it. Me and I were in Asia. We went to a full moon party in Thailand, and I was really like,
I'm sure that was fun too.
Oh, it was all right, but your night was better. And I was like, I don't want to miss Oilers games. And I came back to the hotel, and I woke up in the morning, and I checked Twitter as you do, and I'm like, oh my god, no! Oh my god, no! Yeah. Sam Gagner had 8 points. Oh no! Gretzky texted him. He was all 3 stars.
Go ahead, Jay.
I remember that.
For a very specific listener of this podcast, Travis would be really bummed if I didn't let you know that one of our listeners actually got fired from his job as a result of that night because he made a bet with his brother that if you got to 8, he would run buck-ass naked down the street, and it was like minus 30 or something that night. So,
well, I'm sorry.
Huge night all around.
No, so hold on. Finish that story off. He did it, and then he woke up in the morning, and it was on the landing page of CBS.com. He was on CBS.com running naked down the street before McMurray.
At least it got him famous.
Famous got him fired. Good for him.
Sam, you mentioned
one follow-up story, Tyler.
Okay,
one
go,
follow-up
Jay.
to the 8-point night. I know it's very special, but is it even more special because you dunked on your former London Knight teammate, Patrick Kane?
Well, I mean, if you look at our careers, he has a lot on me. So for that one night to kind of to have that on him, it was pretty cool. I mean, what's he got? 3 Stanley Cups, a couple. He got a Hart Trophy, a few other things in his trophy case. So
he doesn't have an 8-point night though, does he?
Well, I'm frozen.
Who's frozen?
Oh, did I freeze? Oh, sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Tyler.
Oh, did we lose Sam?
We're frozen in time.
We are
The
frozen.
rest of us, we're not interesting.
Frozen in time with Sam Gagner, name of the podcast.
Yeah.
Someone's got to write that down, actually, as we wait for our connection to restore with one Sam Gagner.
Hey, nope.
That's Chalmers.
Sorry, guys.
There he
Looks like I dropped you.
There we go.
Drop,
Sam's
yeah.
back. Sam, you mentioned the experience of, getting all 3 stars, the crowd and everything like that. We were talking earlier about your relationship with the city of Edmonton. I said this fan base loves you. Is there maybe a memory you have with this fan base or a moment somewhere, whether it was, out in public, meeting someone before or after a game with an Oilers fan that really sticks out to you that the regular person listening to this might not know? I'm putting you on the spot a bit, I know.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure if I can come up with one specific thing, but I just know personally, I think Edmonton gets a reputation that's not really deserved throughout the league. I mean, you look at the drive from the airport, and when we used to be at Rexall, and different players would ask me how can you like playing in Edmonton? And I'm like, honestly, when you play there and you understand the community and you understand kind of everything that comes with being an Oiler, it's just a really special place to live and a special place to play. People are always so friendly. I think, I grew up just outside of Toronto, and you look what the Maple Leafs mean to Toronto, and just kind of being out in the city there, it's just, I find, it has a really, it's a big time city feel, right? And when you come here, it's way more of a small town community feel. And when you're out in public, you're at the grocery store or whatever, you really get that sense of community. And I think, everyone's so friendly. And what makes it such a kind of special place to be a part of.
Sorry, Wanye, I'll get to you in a second. I got to follow up on that. Just the sort of unfair reputation that the city gets. Do you think, you mentioned, back when at Rexall, it was even different with the new building, with guys like Connor and Leon. Do you think that reputation is maybe starting to change a little bit for players who aren't in the city?
I do think it'll change. Yeah. I think that, I personally, I live 10 minutes from the rink in a beautiful neighborhood, and the drive to the rink's really easy, and then you get there and the facility's incredible. So when you look at it from that aspect, and in terms of being a guy who really likes hockey, there's it's on the short list for me of one of the best places to play because of that. So I think as time goes on and some of this younger generation comes through the league and sees the facilities and the hotel attached to the rink, all that kind of stuff, I think it's going to become more of a destination to play for sure.
What was your level when you're rolling around town? Like you mentioned, there's a special place to play and people love you. Like you're, I would say, in the level of like Oilers fan favorite, mild legend already. Like, can you go pump gas without people yelling at you? Or like, can you wheel into an A&W in your sweatpants and be like, hit me with a teen burger? They don't like form a line. How's your level of celebrity?
I'm not sure how I'd answer that. I don't know.
Can you move in silence, or does everywhere you go in Edmonton, do people know you everywhere?
It depends on the place, I guess.
Yeah.
And where in the city. But the one thing I will say is people are always really respectful. So unless you're out at a bar and people are drunk, but I haven't dealt with that in a long time.
That's old fathers. We shouldn't be going to the bar anymore.
Exactly. Now that I'm a family man, and that doesn't happen as often. Exactly. So people are really respectful, which is nice.
We had Magnus Benson on a few seasons ago on this show, and I asked him the same question. He said the first time he got gas in Edmonton, the guy one pump over looked at him and went, "Hey, you're Magnus Jarvis Benson." He says he was shocked. He's like, "Yes, I am." The guy's like, "You need to shoot a lot more." And then just went back to filling his tank.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
It matters, right? Like what you guys do matters. And I think in a lot of major American markets, if you're like third or fourth tier sports team, like here, people live and die with it for better or for worse. But you'll be 60 and walking down Jasper Avenue. People will be like, 8 points, Gagner, you're the bomb, right?
We said we wouldn't keep you for longer than 30 minutes. We're getting close to that here, so I'll throw it around the table one more time here. Anyone got anything else they want to throw at number 89? Jay?
I've got just a random Edmonton question because it's in the vernacular presently of nation citizens, but and I don't know if you were here in your younger years, so there was probably some nights where you went out, but do you by any chance have a favorite donair shop in Edmonton?
Oh, no, actually. I get that question all the time, and I'm like, I've never really had it.
Go gluten free though. It's not easy at donair shops. They don't exactly offer these healthy alternatives to
Yeah, I never really did the post bar donair. That was never really my thing. So I'm sorry I can't help you there.
Points in the NHL.
That's the key.
Yeah, everyone always asks me too where I went after that night. They're like, "Where'd you go out?" And we had a game 2 nights later, so I didn't go out. So I might have dropped the ball there, but it was I donairs never really have been a fan. So sorry I can't help you.
Thank you. I am not a fan either, and everybody gets shit over it.
I've seen you in donair shops past 2 a.m. hundreds of times.
That's the only time I can eat them. It's past 2 a.m. Trust me.
Bag milk, Chalmers. You guys got one more here?
Yeah, I just want to know, like you mentioned at Rexall Place a little bit earlier. Obviously, there's the 8-point night, huge night in your career and your life. But is there a story or some kind of thought that comes to your mind when you're thinking of the old barn of just what kind of a special place that was?
Yeah, no, it had a certain feel to it. I remember when I got traded and I came back from my first game with Arizona, I had a real hard time playing. It's one of those places that at that time too, there were some new arenas popping up, and it was one of the older arenas in the league, and it had a certain feel to it, and it had all the banners up, and you watch kind of old time games of the great years of the Oilers. So it was definitely a special building to play in. I think the one story that kind of sticks out, I remember after the 8-point night, it took me a while to get out of the rink, just because I was, did media and, all that different kind of stuff that went with it. And I was the last guy to leave, and one of the only guys left was Joey Moss. And I sat down and had a beer with him, and we just kind of chatted. And, that was really cool. I mean, Joey and I have Joey has a special relationship with everybody. He's one of the, the greatest people you're ever.
Oh no!
Oh, during Joey Moss.
Oh damn! Well,
the connection again.
Greatest people you'll ever meet.
I'll finish the statement. Joey Moss is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Everybody.
Oh, he's back. Hey, Sam, you were talking about Joey Moss.
Where did I end?
You ended with Joey Moss is one of the nicest people you will ever meet.
Yeah, he is. He's just he's incredible. Everyone that comes through the Oilers organization is affected by Joey in some way. He's just one of the greatest people ever, and that night in particular is something I'll always remember.
How pumped was Joey when you got to come back?
Yeah, he was. He's getting to the point now where he doesn't remember names as well. But I was really happy he actually remembered mine. So it was really cool. I mean, every time I would come to Rexall as a member of another team, I took a picture with Joey, and got a chance to catch up with him. So when I got traded back, it was pretty cool.
Chalmers, one more for you, then we'll go to Wanya, and then we'll wrap it up.
As the only other father in here, I just can't help but ask, like, how are the kids? Do they know what Daddy does?
The oldest knows. Yeah. They've been around
4.5,
the rink.
Right?
Yeah, they've been around the rink like a little this year, so they understand that. And then we got the net in our backyard, and they shoot around every once in a while. But I don't think they know enough. That's kind of what I was going to say. Was like, as the son of an NHL hockey player, and I mean, I coached Mike Smith's kids, Ajax and Axel. Okay, yeah.
So they're around the rink a lot, and like they're living their life. It's great.
Yeah.
And you probably remember that. Is that something that you want to give to your sons?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to play as long as I can so that they have that opportunity to be around and see different things. I mean, I look back to my childhood and meeting Mike Modano and Jerome McGinley and all these different great players in the NHL. They were just regular guys to me because I got to be around the rink, which is an incredible experience, right?
The coolest thing in the world, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So I mean, you look at this year, my kids at the rink, and they're hanging out with Connor McDavid, and to them, it's just Connor. Like that's a really cool. It's a really cool experience for them, and like I said, my oldest is 4.5 now, so hopefully I can play until he's 10, hopefully 15, and allow them to kind of enjoy that. I don't know if my wife will let me play that long, but yeah, I think it's definitely a cool experience for them.
Wanya, I'll give you the last word here with Sam Gagner.
Wow, that's heavy responsibility during a pandemic. I'll do my best. I guess I want to thank you, Sam, right? Like there's good Oilers and there's great Oilers, right? And for a lot of years there, you were a bright shining light that really got us all amped up. And like, especially when you got your teeth fucked up, like there's players where when they get injured, you're like, oh my God, my dear friend Sam Gagner is injured, right? And like, I think you crossed that line between good and great Oilers. So like, on behalf of Oilers fans, thank you for the sacrifices you made. Thank you for not eating donaires after the bar and being diligent, and for making the team good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really appreciate that. I think, like I said, I mean, that's one of the best parts about playing in Edmonton is the people in the city and the community support you get. So, I've enjoyed kind of everything about being an Oiler, and I think who knows what can happen in the future, right? So
come back, join the front office, become GM, trade for your son, and win the cup.
There we go.
Sam, we appreciate your time today. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. We hope to chat with you again soon.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
All right, there you go. That is Sam Gagner. Guys, before we get into any sort of reaction, I'm going to stop recording for a second, save it because I'm petrified I'm going to somehow lose it in an awful computer crash, and then we'll reboot, okay? So give me 2 seconds. All right, the podcast is saved up. We are good. We are golden. Who wants to go first? Because I think he might be the nicest human being I've ever spoken with in my life.
Oh, what a first-class act, and just the way he speaks about our city, and especially to other players. What a fucking cool cat. That was fanboy in there. That was unreal.
We did miss one thing, and that was the YEG Burger that he was promoting. It's his burger for the month. When do you get it? Like,
we started with it, and
but we never told anybody what was the time frame they could get it.
It's the month of May. Sam said it all.
The whole month of May.
The whole month of May,
Except May 13th.
except May 1st. Yeah.
And we
What's
can't
today?
tell you why. We can't tell you why, Charles. You're not Sam Gagner.
What's today? May 20 days in. I didn't know I could get that burger. Shit.
See,
Go
that's
get
why
it.
you gotta have
now.
You got to have him on the podcast so we can hype that shit.
Yeah, look at him. Like he's not technically. He's a Detroit Red Wing, and he's doing City of Edmonton initiatives, and he also did a fundraiser for the Red Wings, or for Detroit too during this time. So like, just speaks to the type of guy he is, and why you would think Wanye would proclaim he should be captain, because that's the type of person he is, a captain quality player or person.
Thank you, nobody, for bringing that up. By the way, you're all my real friends.
How about at the end there?
I actually had the article open the whole time, by the way.
Shut up.
How about at the end there, his little wink of, never know what could happen in the future. Like,
He's coming back. I've been saying this since the day he moved.
Here's coming back. Right? If you're going to build the Oilers for the next 30 years, right? I think one of the mistakes that we've made as an organization in the past little while is, like, we're still obviously working with Oilers alumni, but it's been the same group for 30 years. I think you got to look going forward at, like, if Sam Gagner is driving into the city with players now and they're like, why do you like playing here? And as a player, he comes back at them and is like, I love it here. That's the kind of guy to build an organization around. They can teach him how to be an executive. You can't teach people how to love being an Oiler.
Yeah, you got to keep that guy in the room. You need that guy in our room because he's going to build proper culture.
And I think that, like, some of the mistakes the Oilers have made in years past have been, like, letting guys like Hendricks go and letting Oilers leave at their end of their careers, and they don't have that, like, bridge into the organization later on, right? Mm-hmm. And, like, there's lots of ex-Oilers now that are succeeding in the front offices. Bill Guerin, Doug Waite, and all those guys. They love being Oilers. Those are the kind of guys you need here.
It's pretty evident that Sam's life is hockey. So it would just make a lot of sense for him to go into, the front office after his playing career. And what better place to do it than here, where he's beloved and where he loves to be.
He got happy when I told him he was a legend. Did you see his face? He was smiling.
He started to blush a little bit, eh?
I wanted to ask him about his grill, except that I knew that it would end up with me having to admit I don't hate Zach Cassian, which makes me extremely conflicted because I love Sam Gagner.
Well, we didn't bring up the fact that he got his teeth knocked out. We didn't bring up the fact that he got his left tendon cut in his wrist, which is like two horrific fucking injuries.
Or even
I'm glad we didn't bring him up.
Or even going back to the teeth getting knocked out, they were teammates not long after that happened.
Yeah.
Like, that must have been super odd, at least to start anyway.
I don't understand how that works. Like, I think a lot of times in sports, especially now, everybody's like shaking hands after the game and we'll go see you later on for some bio steal. But there are instances where players actually hate each other.
Oh, yeah.
Cassian being a lunatic and fucking up Sam Gagner, it must have been a mind fuck to come back, and he's like now a fan favorite in Edmonton.
The Oilers seem to be doing that a lot, where they take two players that have a fucking problem from other teams and put them together, like Connor and fucking Manning. Then this.
Why would you bring in Manning, who broke the superstar's collarbone?
Because it's Peter Chiarelli, man. He just, like, he was running on old software.
He was running on
DOS.
Meg Milk, was that you that put up the meme of what you expected 2020 to be like, and then a picture of Chiarelli as what it's actually like?
Yeah.
That was classic.
He still
Good meme
annoys me,
game.
man.
Yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out to Alex Lacoustic, who is a listener of the pod, who on the fly guessed that we were talking about Sam Gagner when I threw out a couple of teasers on the old Twitter.com. There was a bunch of stuff in that I loved. He talked very nicely about Rogers Place. Was anyone else doing the mental exercise when he says he lives in a nice neighborhood 10 minutes away from the rink, and you're like, all right, which direction we going? Probably towards the river. Where does Sam live?
I know exactly where he lives. I could
Yeah,
probably
it's in Collingwood.
I'm going to go drop off
right.
a donaire on his front
Hollywood.
step.
I could guarantee drop a pin to where I think it is, and I would be within a mile radius of where he lives.
As the producer of this
That's the
podcast,
beautiful thing of Edmonton.
I won't say it.
I was having a heart attack every time his phone cut out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to edit it out because I want all the listeners to live in those moments where we were just like, oh, shit, where did Sam go?
But buddy, when I was
But also he came back.
Yeah.
He
and
keeps
when I was
coming back, which is a testament, right?
Just like
that's
in real
wicked.
life. He left and came back.
Yeah, he could have done the
audio. Go ahead.
he could have done the Irish exit and just be like, I don't know, my internet is gone. I don't know what happened.
My phone fell in a lake.
The Irish exit.
Yeah, man, when you just leave without announcing anything.
As an Irishman, that's offensive. We've contributed a lot to society, a lot of things, including U2 and alcoholism.
I was going to say alcoholism.
Can we talk about one other thing from when he was talking about Rogers Place and the old arena? I couldn't help but think about how uncalculated it was for management and just like how short-sighted it was to think that when a player comes to Edmonton and they're playing on another team and you land at the airport and then you immediately go to their hotel and to the rink, that the only thing you see is outside that bus's window. And when you're going to Rexall, when you were going to old Rexall, you were literally probably seeing, and unless you were driving them down like 118th Ave, you were literally driving them through a wasteland. It looked awful. It was awful optics. And like, they should have made it a point to like make sure the bus drivers took them down certain routes, or else made sure they always took the same route to the hotel and then the arena and spruced those routes up. Like, what were they thinking?
They got to see a burger baron and some hookers and some weird crackheads, though. That's cool.
Used hubcaps.
I was reading a book about the arena development. It's pretty good for the downtown arena. And when they first built Northland, they thought people would be using the municipal arena or airport rather.
Oh.
They thought people would be flying in downtown and then flying a completely different route.
So as a home builder, this is my thing. It's when we used to turn over houses, the very first thing we would do.
What's wrong?
Oh, am I?
On pause?
No, I'm not on pause.
You were on a rant and then you just powered down.
Oh, because I thought
you're buffering.
I was looking at still talking, and that's a. Am I there?
Yeah, keep going, man.
Government name.
No, so we used to make sure that on the day of the walkthrough, an hour and a half before the walkthrough, we'd have somebody pressure wash like the front driveway, the front sidewalk, because when these people are walking up to the house, if the very first thing they see is beautiful, they're going to think everything else is great.
You want to pressure wash from the international airport to the arena, and you want hundreds of homeowners to knock down their shit.
Exactly my point.
You are the Chinese government, and this is the Beijing Olympics.
Jesus.
Your laptop has been doing some wacky stuff. Like, I'm still seeing you talk right now.
Really?
I think it might be your internet, Chalmers.
My internet is the great 3G network. I am sitting on a street.
I would hope to God you're not on the 3G network. What are you using, a Motorola Razr?
Well, what network am I on then? 3G at the top.
Oh, really?
Bagged milk.
No.
Is bagged milk there?
You know, buddy.
What was your kind of favorite part of that conversation? Was there one answer that really stood out to you?
I like when he talked to me personally, and I could forget for a minute that the rest of you were even here, and it was just a conversation between Sam Gagner and I, like we were best friends. No, but like to hear him walk through his 8-point night was fun. But you know what I really loved? Man, I could have listened to him talk about Joey Moss all day.
Oh,
yeah.
And just the vibe at Rexall Place and capping it off with him having a beer with Joey Moss and just kind of talking. And I love that, man, because both of those guys mean so much to the city. It was just great to hear him talk about it.
There's a dude who I will allow to remain nameless who was telling me that Joey Moss and Sam Gagner got along like one of the greatest relationships he's had with a modern day Oiler was with Sam Gagner, and Sam Gagner just treated him like a king.
And I believe that after talking to Sam Gagner for 32 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
We got him longer. We did it.
Yeah,
do we do an ad for Japa? Do we love Japa?
Yeah, we do need to do one more ad for our friends at Japa Machinery Group. And Doodle Noodle. But yeah, Japa, we love ya. They are Edmonton made. You know what? Sam Gagner from London, Ontario, but I consider him Edmonton made as well. We were on the theme of talking about what a good person Sam Gagner is. All the people at Japa are good people. Recently on their Twitter, they were wishing everyone a happy May long weekend. And big shout out to Japa and XCMG. Not a day will go by where I don't butcher that. They've done some great charity stuff as well. So check out their social media. Check out their Twitter. And talking about doing good stuff for charity, Oodle Noodle does that as well. What's the latest update on the good stuff coming from Oodle Noodle, Jay?
So this week, they segue, Tyler. Very well done.
Yep.
This week, we are supporting ABC Head Start, which is a children's learning program for kids that are living in poverty. They provide classes and resources for kids to learn in fun environments to help them progress through schooling. But now that we're in a non-school quarantine environment, they're in need of raising some money to make a bunch of home learning kits. So these kits are given to the kids so they can do some learning while they're at home, but also I looked at the kits. There's a lot of cool entertainment, arts and crafts stuff for them too, so it's a lot of fun. So super pumped to be working with them because it's I can see how important the cause is. I've talked to a few teachers that are through Nation Citizens that have said they've used this program and how important it is for the kids. So super cool one. And we donated food to the mustard seed this past week too. So donated 400 pounds of food there. So we're committed to doing this, and everyone's been super committed to supporting us. And without that, it couldn't happen. So.
Chalmers, I think you're getting the echo coming from you. You are, because it's really hard for me to talk right now. But while we're on the topic of local businesses, local restaurants, and charity, we also need to give some love to Emad and YEG Burger. He's doing some great stuff over there. His burger of the month is always fantastic. He's a proud sponsor of my Oilers Nation pregame podcast as well. So that interview with Gagner wouldn't have been possible without Emad and everyone at YEG Burger, and also Jared. Sales guy Jared, who did a lot to set it up. You as well, Wanye. That was a ton of fun. Definitely one of the highlights I've had doing this podcast. Insert joke about me always hating the podcast here. But yeah, that was great. And you know what else, guys? I want to give a shout out to you because I'm proud of you guys for not talking over each other very much.
In fact, we had awkward pauses because no one was talking to Sam Gagner.
I thought my phone froze, but we just all stopped talking.
Well,
Everybody went like this.
Tyler yelled at us before the podcast started, so we were all on our best behavior.
Yep.
I threatened everything I was going to take away. Yeah. My biggest fears when we have guests on is, one, that we'll talk over each other too much and nothing will make sense, or two, that Chalmers will cut them off like he often does.
Well,
I did a couple times.
A couple times you did, yeah.
Chalmers, you came through in true Chalmers colors, and you made the questions for Sam Gagner about yourself.
And you also name dropped Mike Smith's kids to Sam Gagner, and they got established.
Hold on, I love it.
Well, to establish dominance in the conversation that you are the coach.
I'm just like
you. You are Pete Chalmers, and I love you for it.
I'm just like you, Sam.
I'm just like you. I know Ajax and Axel.
Anytime Chalmers asked a question, I leaned back and fist pumped. I was so pumped because he did exactly what we wanted to happen.
Oh yeah.
We stayed on brand, which is important.
Very important.
We're coming to the end here. Anything else on your guys' mind? You want to get off your chest?
One thing we haven't done is we have not broken down the last dance. It is now over.
Yeah, we should know. Let's save that though, because we had so much good stuff to do this week. Let's save that for Monday's episode.
Chalmers, on the Peloton, go do Alex Toussaint's last dance ride.
Oh, he wears a Jordan jersey?
Yes.
I'll do it tonight.
Excellent.
And also, Chalmers, if you're hungry, burger of the month means the whole month.
Sometimes I don't know how things like this work. Have you ever had? I'm not even going to get into it. I'm going to order that tonight, too, right before my ride.
Good stuff.
Maybe post-ride.
Good.
Propel you forward.
All right, guys. I think that's gonna do it. Is that gonna do it for an episode of Real Life?
Oh, yeah.
I got to get back to work.
The episode was fantastic, so it'll stand on its own merit. Thank you, Sam Gagner, for that. So
Thank you, Jared. Thank you, your MCUC. Thank you, Sam Gagner.
Thank you, Wanye. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Chalmers. Thank you, Bagged Milk. That was a lot of fun. And you know what? To our 13 listeners, or maybe we'll get up to like 20 because of the name recognition of Sam Gagner. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed our chat with Sam Gagner, frozen in time with Sam Gagner. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Talk to you again on Monday.
Great job on making it through the entire hour of the Real Life podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast from.